2, 3.
Yeah, you're on the Sully Dog Blues and Roots, talking here with Kelly Joe Phelps. Had the honour of talking with Kelly Joe late 2012. About 4 years ago, haven't released his album yet because he stopped playing soon after that interview due to some RSI in his right hand and decided to take a break. So I'm going to release it with a selection of great tracks and hear what Kelly Joe had to say. That period, late 2012.
Stealing bits, asleep again. He's heard his common creed. Heard his common creed. Goes into the tallest tree. Cool down a sailor's heat.
Okay, well, welcome Kelly Joe Phelps to Sully Dog Blues and Roots. Really appreciate you giving us some time.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And down in Australia here, doing a range of gigs. Tell me, Kelly, is it Kelly Joe is your preferred? Or
Sure,
yeah. Kelly Joe?
Yeah.
You started off as a jazz player from some of the material I had, and then you were converted to the blues. What happened there?
Oh, well, that was... I mean, it's a long process, and it wasn't any sort of epiphany necessarily. Switching from one to the other had essentially everything to do with growing as a musician. And there was a point, in my younger life where jazz music was definitely my one straight and true passion. But in the interest of wanting to become a more complete musician and a fuller musician and a more honest musician, I suppose, in terms of what my soul responds to musically. There was a point where I started listening to country blues players, really, in the interest of trying to find more new and more and newer ways to be creative, and the country blues guys seemed to hold up an example of what a person could do as a musician. So I started learning that music, listening to those records and figuring that stuff out and playing it. But it wasn't like, the blues, man, that's the cool thing. It was just like, oh yeah, right. There's more to this music than I understood initially.
Yeah.
And but it was all about the country, the country blues players, because I think there's a massive distinction between that and electric blues music. It's almost not the same kind of music.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. So there's definitely a distinction there, which is I like pointing out, because people, like Fred McDowell and Robert Pete Williams and Mance Lipscomb and John Hurt and Reverend Gary Davis, and it just goes on and on. That's an amazing kind of music, and it gets lumped into blues music, but it doesn't have a lot to do with Freddie King, for instance, or something like that.
Exactly. Now, whenever I think of Kelly Joe Phelps, in fact, my listeners and other people I talk to, they always think pretty unique sort of player, and very what's the right word? I'm not going to say eccentric, because that's probably right, but your take on musical composition, lyrics, even the names of your albums are all very much your own. And has that always been something you've pursued, that sort of individual style? Or?
Well, yeah, it's been important to me, but it's been important as a byproduct of something else, and I think that something else is seeing in my musical heroes an incredibly strong pursuit of individuality and uniqueness. That's another thing that you can find in, again, just thinking of country blues players, for instance. There's a good number of tunes. There's certainly a body of songs that a lot of country blues players pulled from.
Yeah.
Like you can hear, 5 different versions of this song, 4 different versions of that song. And I mean, you can even hear, Fred McDowell playing Elvis Presley songs,
Yeah.
But when these people play that music, they clearly spent a lot of energy and a lot of focused attention on how do I make this my piece of music, not how do I claim ownership, but it's like, how do I present this music, but present it through myself as an individual human being.
Yeah.
And so that's been very critically important to me, and part of that pursuit, or parts of it, there is what makes me tick, like what inspires me, what motivates me, what makes me want to get better at this sort of thing. And one of the side parts of that, outside of music, has been ending up being a big fan of poetry and poets and writers that use words in very magical ways.
Well, I've been drifting here and there. I need a guide to show me the way. I've been drifting here and there, but I gotta show me. Yeah, I've been drifting here.
Yeah, on the Solid Dog Blues and Roots, we're talking with Kelly Joe Phelps. This track, one of his most popular, Lead Me On, from the album Lead Me On, early 2000s.
One of these nights I sang his song, make you weep and moan. One of these nights I sang his song, make you weep and moan. Yeah, Lord, lead me on. If my heart don't stop aching, I won't live to see the sun. If my heart don't stop aching, I won't live to see the sun. Lead me on, lead me on, lead me on. Yeah, lead me on. Yeah, lead me on. I've got a picture in my mind, my home so far away. Well, I've got my home so far away. Well, I've got me a picture of my home so far away. I'm going. Carry my burden down to the end. We're over the mountain, down to the sea. Getting out my burden over the mountain, down to the sea. Well, I don't carry it, babe. Yeah, the mountain, down to the sea. Well,
like poets are great for this because they can choose, just an assemblage of words, 3 words, 5 words, 7 words, something, and the words might not make sense together, but when they are put together, it creates this amazing visual image, and almost emotional image as well. So I've been, spending a lot of time with that as well as with music and watching how words work together, and so that has shaped the end result,
Yeah.
That's why, CD titles are such as they are, or sometimes the lyrics are such as they are.
Well, fantastic. I mean, you've got obviously a big fan base around the world because of that. You mentioned there Kelly Joe, that things inspire. What does inspire you in terms of writing?
Well, it's I mean, I'm definitely the kind of writer that writes from a life perspective. I don't write lyrics that I don't live first, and I don't write lyrics that I can't stand behind. Based on experience and understanding. So the long and short of it ultimately is, what inspires me. Well, it's a tricky question because the answer would sort of be what inspires me to write is living, but that isn't what inspires me. I mean, living is the source of the material. Yeah. But what I'm inspired by is the pursuit of artistic merit. I think really. I mean, it's important to me to be as good at these things as I can be, and it's important to me that everyone else strives for that as well. It's really important to me that people understand either understand the aspect of honoring individual creative pursuit, or that they are involved in it themselves. So living is the source of the material, but the inspiration is knowing that I was given, for some reason, the gift and the eyesight of a creative person, and so I have to work at it. That's the inspiration.
Well.
Yeah, when I was a sinner, I didn't know how to pray. Words just seemed to fail me, yet I didn't know what to say. Well, a voice from heaven said, I will show you the way. Yeah, I know I've been converted, oh, do you? Well, a voice from heaven said, saying I will show you the way. Yeah, I know I've been converted, yeah. My feet out to my clay, let me standing on the King's highway. Knew I'd been converted. Oh, I do you. Oh, I do you. Ooh, I do you, oh, hey.
Well, we like the work you're doing, that's for sure.
Oh, thanks.
Now, coming back to your instruments, you were lap style guitar for a while, still a resonator, 12-string, 6-string. Well, what's your preferred instrumentation?
The last couple of years, I've been playing just straight 6-string guitar, regular acoustic guitar, and then I'm also playing resonator guitars, bottleneck style, so not doing any lap style or 12-string or anything, but just those two guitars.
And you've got a new album out, which I'll ask you about in a moment. You also did one with Corinne West recently, which is a great album. Some great material on that. And there was a bit of a break in your recording. There was a lot of recording in the early 2000s, wasn't there, up to around 2005, 2006? And then there's a couple of years of a rest period, I guess, and you've come back with a duo, and the latest one is I'm just trying to remember the name of it because I haven't got it in front of me. It's the Whale.
Brother Sinner and the Whale.
That's it, and the Whale, which is you're releasing on this Australian tour as well. The kinds of duo, single. What's the kind of, I guess, in some of your albums, band based or with accompaniment? Is your preferred single playing or duo?
Yeah. Solo playing is my preferred for sure. Yeah, that's it makes the most sense to me, and it's the easiest to maneuver within, and it's the purest way to express my musical kind of vision or something like that.
Yeah. You just find that you can go places you need to go with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rather than having to have structure of a band situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fantastic. When you're writing, Kelly Jo, how do you go about it? Do you have to sort of sit in a room and wait for inspiration, or does it come to you when you're walking, or you pick up the guitar and things happen? What's usually the process?
I don't really write until I'm home and I have some time to relax and concentrate and focus, because there's a lot of different angles to writing songs for me. I don't, I'm not the kind of person that writes lyrics out on napkins and things. I have to sit with things and try a couple different angles and look at it from different places and work. So I just keep my, observational skills to try to keep them, alert, heightened while I'm knocking around the world, and then when I'm home alone and have the time, then I can start turning things into songs. Yeah,
you grew up in a rural environment, farming environment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that sort of impacted on the way you play?
Well, it certainly comes out in the music, I think, and that I understand, I suppose. I find peace in openness, space, and so any amount of peace I project through the music is going to portray that, from growing up in a rural place and enjoying that.
Have a glass of whiskey with another friend that has nowhere to be. Keep my feet on the road.
Yeah, talking with Kelly Jo Phelps on Celtic Dog Blues and Roots. This track, Wandering Away.
Gonna stop trying someday, some year. Minute when I told her I loved her, and I did. And a minute when I said goodbye. Grab my suitcase and my kid. We'll find another place to call home for a while. Oh, I get to it and I don't know why. Yet I'm wondering, I keep on wondering, wandering away. Yet I'm wondering, oh, I keep on wandering, wandering away.
For sure, and there was a bit of a Christian ethic going through a lot of your material too.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a conversion or something from your early days?
No, it's just something from my life. I grew up with it and been close to it,
Yeah.
my whole life, really. I haven't always paid a lot of attention to it, but it's a pretty common thread in my living. So it was time for me to make that particular kind of record, for sure.
Sure, I remember in the was it the early '90s? "Lead Me On" was a particularly focused in that direction. "Sky Like a Broken Clock." Others you've gone on to. I can't. Some of these names that you put on records are fantastic. What was the Tap the Whirlwind?
Tap the Red Cane Whirlwind.
Thank you. Yeah. Where did that come from? That name?
Well, it's an image again. It's just kind of the work of a poet there.
Yeah.
It's or trying, using the tools of poetry, which is thinking of the red-tipped cane that blind folks use to make people aware that that they're there and are blind is something. But it's also the whirlwind part of it is just like being in an experience and being blind to what is going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's happening around you, and there is going to be some occurrence, but you don't quite know what it is. That's sort of what playing music is like. So. And that's the title of a live record, so that's why it was called that.
Yeah, no, fantastic. The latest album, just tell us about that briefly. Where was it recorded?
I recorded that up in Vancouver, British Columbia, up in Canada.
Yeah.
And it's a solo record, just myself and the guitars. And it's a very traditional sounding record, I think. It's in certain ways, I suppose, it's paying tribute to people like Gary Davis and Blind Willie Johnson, but then also people like Leo Kottke and John Fahey.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of instrumental stuff on there, mostly vocal things.
Yeah.
And there's one old Fred McDowell gospel tune that I cover on it, and there's an old hymn, Welsh hymn that I sing on there. So.
Fantastic.
Tired of falling down, tired of wondering why we breathe. Yeah. I've been talking to Jehovah, yeah, and I believe.
Well, we'll certainly be playing some of that material, and if people want to get hold of that album around the world, if they're not at a gig, obviously, how would they do it?
Well, that's a good question anymore these days.
That's right.
I mean, you can get it through my own website. You can get it through the label website, Black Hen Music, I think it is.
Yeah.
And it's on Amazon, and it's on iTunes. So I mean, it's easy enough to get a hold of. I think the shortest answer would have been Google search, and you'll find it. Yeah.
That's right. So, people can go and get on Google, and they'll find that, and they need to. And thanks very much, Kelly Joe, for giving us some time. Really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay in Australia, and I look forward to seeing you back here again.
Great. Thanks very much.
Yeah, we're talking with Kelly Joe Phelps, like 2012, and he hasn't been seen or recording much since then at all. In fact, not at all. So just listen to a range of tracks from his different albums. This one's one that always gets to me, Frankenstein Party of Three. Your Table is Ready is the name of the song. Check it out, and it'll fade out on this one from Kelly Joe Phelps.
Trim the sea with envy, bounce some mother from his ship. Trail the bridge blank mercy side with a slow and graceful clip. Sorrows of young Werther lying between the bread. I was up and dying with Frankenstein till I lose my head. It was a lovely simple thing, twisted up her countenance, pledged her honor to the ground while her choosing for the dance. The unsuspecting blue-faced lads were soon to chase their minds with the red-tipped canes and bridle dogs to lap the muddy brine.